Hello all and welcome along. My name is Simon Dan and I'm pleased to have you here with me today. It appears Flat Earth Friday now has somewhat of a cult following, and I appreciate all the positive comments from you all. I try to reply to as many as possible, but there are so many comments now it's proving difficult. So please know I appreciate all of them, even if I don't get the chance to reply. Right, let's get down to business. Today we are taking on this guy. Darren Nesbit, a prominent Flat Earth figure who appeared on national morning TV here in the UK off the back of speaking at the recent convention back in April. So what has he done to warrant a response from me? Well, he has a Flat Earth model that appears to answer all the problems with the sun, moon, planets and stars. Of course, it's a load of codswallop. Darren, the floor is yours.
And the Heavenlies provide much of the reason why the majority of thinking people still believe the ball in outer space theory. Because whatever its shortcomings, and they're pretty obvious, that model does at least explain heavens and astronomy fairly well. So for many flat earthers to ignore the heavens, saying, well, the sky can't tell us the shape of the ground, you're writing off most of the world's amateur astronomers, and all those who want to know how things like day and night and seasons and stars might work on a flat earth model.
I'm going to concede here that this was one of the most sensible things a flat earther has ever said.
Psalm 19 tells us the sun goes from one end of heaven to the other end.
Oh dear.
This can't happen on the Gleason's disk model. The sun's circling round and round in the middle of the heaven. And a circuit is any loop, anything which comes back to where it started from. Circuit actually rarely refers to a circle in real life, and the word circle is normally used. I mean, these are all circuits, but there's no circles here, are there?
So what we have here is a flat earther who is fundamentally disagreeing with the Gleason type map. Unfortunately, that's like being in a room with a ravenous tiger that doesn't eat chicken.
And the Bible's unmistakably describing this type of model. To claim otherwise is to form a view from preconceived notions, to fit with an idea that someone else has suggested, and one that doesn't actually match most of Scripture, except for one or two verses.
And believing that the contents of the Bible is true is completely different to believing what someone has suggested, isn't it? This is pure hypocrisy.
And I've included over 70 verses here supporting this model.
70 verses of a fictional book.
And not just that, daylight hours are also easily explained with a sun that goes straight across the face of the earth and starts again in the east once it reaches the western end. This is how day and night work on a flat earth. This is the December solstice. And this is the June solstice. Very, very straightforward. The sun's small and local. And like I say, because of refraction, it lights up about half of the earth at once.
Come on, Darren. Because of refraction, it lights up about half the earth at once. Is it about half the earth, or exactly half the earth, or some of the earth? Complete gibberish.
That's how we get the day and night, and obviously it'll move between the tropics over the year, giving us seasons. And then the moon travels a lot lower than the sun is. It's actually lower, because Mercury and Venus never transit the moon, so it must be outside of their solar orbits, and we'll show that shortly. But also solar eclipses. They can occur almost anywhere on Earth, because that's the difference in height, as these two bodies are zigzagging between the tropics over the month and the year. That's why we can get eclipses almost anywhere.
Did it not occur to you that showing this picture has just completely confirmed the globe Earth? Look at the eclipse paths. Are they straight like your model would suggest? No, they aren't. They're curved. But you say the sun and moon zigzag across the Earth, which explains seasons. But seasons are months long. Eclipses are only hours long. This picture is a globe-shaped fist smacking you right in the face. The eclipse paths are curved because they happen on a spherical surface, and you are depicting them on a flat surface. Why do the paths closer to the poles appear more curved? Have a think about that, and then once you've come to the stark realisation that you've shot yourself in the foot, then, and only then, you can feel the overwhelming urge of embarrassment that's coming your way.
Again, the circle model can't explain that, and because the moon travels slower, it's quite straightforward why the shadow of the moon goes from west to east. But it also explains why the shadow of the moon isn't very large at all during the solar eclipses. Despite it's supposed to be over 2,000 miles across, and it's pretty much next to us as far as the sun's concerned. It's clearly, a lot closer and smaller than we've been led to believe, and this is why we can also zoom in on it so well and see so much detail. With our amateur telescopes and P900s. You can't do that if it's 250,000 miles away.
Well, you could if it's 3,500 kilometres across, which it is.
It's not possible. So the solar system is a geohelio system as envisaged by Tycho Brahe.
Tycho Brahe was a phenomenal observer, but a theorist he was not. His hybrid model made no sense, which is why Kepler chucked it in the bin when Tycho died. You've basically copied that model. It's over 400 years old.
The planets still orbit the sun as we're all taught, but the difference is that the sun's passing over the face of the fixed Earth with the system in tow. And we see the transits of Mercury and Venus across the sun, so they must be very close. And this model also explains why we see the retrograde motion of the wandering stars. Mars must orbit outside of the length of the Earth because it never transits the sun, it never comes in between us and the sun. And then there are 4 further outer planets. I'm only illustrating Jupiter and Saturn here for brevity, but I believe there are 7 wandering stars in all in the system. Remember, these are all lights in the sky. They're not massive solid or gaseous bodies like they try to tell us.
We try to tell you because we've actually seen these gaseous bodies. I've witnessed them. Look, this is my picture. And so is this.
So, here's the solar system that you're used to. But it's perpendicular to the Earth rather than Earth being within it. Genesis says the Earth came first, the sun, moon and stars after, all on the same day. And this makes perfect sense with this model, but absolutely no sense with the heliocentric vast universe Big Bang model.
Genesis also stated that the sun was created on the 4th day. So how the hell had 3 days passed without a sun?
This is why the wandering stars remain within 18 degrees of the ecliptic as well.
Nope, wrong again. They remain close to the ecliptic because the solar system formed in pretty much the same plane. Imagine it like a disk, if you will, when the planets first started to coalesce. Ironic, I know, but true.
By the way, the planets don't orbit underneath the Earth or anything. Once they've crossed the Earth plane, they'll appear back at the other side.
Oh yes, because that would be just silly, wouldn't it?
Just like the stars do. I mean, this model can also easily explain the known and observed motions of the stars all over the Earth. So as we look north, we'll see them rotate anti-clockwise, almost around, Polaris. And then we look east and we see the stars rise straight up, exactly as observed in reality. And then if we look to the south, the stars are known to rotate clockwise in the seemingly opposite direction to the north. And not only that, but the constellations are different. They're not merely reflections of the same stars, they're completely different. There's only one set of stars. There's no reflections going on. Again, unless somebody has proof of it, and there isn't any. And then as they rise in the east, they set in the west. The stars travel straight overhead east to west along the celestial ecliptic. Again, there's no way for the one-poled dome model to explain opposite spin of the stars like this. But here we see it plainly in front of us.
So exactly how it looks because the Earth is a globe and rotates, rather than stationary with the sky rotating. Funny that.
It also, can't explain why the stars travel straight in parallel to the equator, straight above our heads. If you track Orion is the most obvious example. It travels straight. How can it do that if they're circling around a dome with a Polaris in the middle at the top of the dome? Like simply, the stars rotate around 2 poles and travel as one mass rotating over the Earth every 23 hours and 56 minutes or so, east to west. And the stars also never change position relative to each other. The constellations are fixed, and there's no evidence they've ever changed at all, which means they're rotating around us.
Come on, Darren. Did you not see my video last week? The stars do move, just very slowly. Link is in the description.
they're not independent suns all flying off in different directions around the galaxy. This is a plain observation anyone can make if they've not been pre-programmed to think otherwise. And the stars rotate outside of the Geo-Helio system, so we can see the wandering stars in the system dancing against the night sky, some retrograde, some prograde, but all part of the planetary system that crosses with the sun.
So the planets are closer than the stars. That's not a groundbreaking statement, is it?
So really this model successfully explains all the motions of the heavens over a fixed plane Earth, which is what our senses know is reality.
Except for the fact it's utter lunacy. And don't get me started on the senses again. Wow, could that have been any more awkward? A flat earther who not only disagrees with reality, but also with the traditional made-up flat earth model. You might notice that Daz has disabled comments for his videos. A shame, as I'd have loved to have him to be able to see my humble opinion about his square-shaped pizza 400-year-old plagiarised Earth and Heavens model. Well, that's it for me this week. I always love a good response video. Thank you all so much for watching. A like and subscribe would be thoroughly appreciated. I shall see you all next week. Bye.